In many ways, Paxos pioneered the idea of regulatory first. I think you guys were one of the first, if not the first, trust charter within New York, and we very much agreed with that thesis. That the way to build to last within the digital asset ecosystem was to pursue regulatory clarity, even when it was hard, even when it was difficult. Many large institutions said, "Hey, we want to be second," and there's a really good reason that you want to be second, because the ones that go first get in trouble. They have a lot of problems. They go through the growing pains. You talked earlier about the scars, but I think what we're finding is there are an entire set of institutions that would never have touched crypto with a 10-foot pole. BNY, relatively speaking, had a lot of courage to decide to get into crypto and into crypto businesses when they did. Similarly, BlackRock and a lot of the other institutions. But what we're seeing now is super conservative institutions say, "Hey, we can no longer wait. We can no longer stand on the sidelines of this. We need to come in." And so we're finding is that despite the fact that it feels like there's a regulatory lifting, what's happening is there's an even bigger set of institutions that are now coming in that want to work with the most regulated institutions that they possibly can. Because absent that, they were never going to come in the first place at all. And it turns out that is almost like an iceberg in a sense. And the iceberg of conservative institutions that are now coming in, I think, is going to be really one of the main stories of the next 24 months.
Yeah. Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. As you all heard the CEO of Anchorage Digital say that the institutions that were previously sidelined, that were conservative, the iceberg of institutions that didn't ever want to touch crypto, or for the first time ever, starting to say that we cannot wait anymore and we want to get into this space. This video breakdown is going to be one that you're not going to want to miss. We're going to be diving into some Stellar development foundations, some Italicus ecosystem developments, and then we're also going to be getting into some ongoing stablecoin developments that a lot of people really need to pay attention to because of some outdated perspectives that still linger in this space, considering this ever-evolving and fast-moving ecosystem. So with that being said, welcome back to the CYPRX platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. Let's dive into today's fundamentals. First off, why are we even listening to that gentleman? Well, he is the CEO of this organization, Anchorage Digital. Who is Anchorage Digital? They are a crypto platform that enables institutions to participate in digital assets through custody, staking, trading, governance, settlement, and industry-leading security infrastructure. Home to Anchorage Digital Bank, the only federally chartered crypto bank in the U.S. Anchorage Digital also serves institutions through Anchorage Digital Singapore, which is licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Anchorage Digital New York, which holds a BIT license from the New York Department of Financial Services, and self-custody wallet Porto by Anchorage Digital. The company is funded by leading institutions including Andreessen Horowitz, GIC, Goldman Sachs, KKR, and Visa, with its Series D valuation with over $3 billion. So I definitely consider listening to what this gentleman has to say, and then also take a look into some ongoing recent developments like this one. This is from August 18th, 2025. Depending on when you're watching this recording, it might be a few days old, but still recent and relevant within what's going on in the digital asset ecosystem that people should be paying attention to. These minor little tiny pullbacks, especially the ones that we've just recently experienced, should be seen, at least in my personal opinion, not financial advice, as buying opportunities, because we know that the digital asset ecosystem and the underlying fundamentals have not even been priced in yet. There's still over 80 to 70% of institutions that are still sidelined that haven't even come into crypto yet. And so what we're going to see over the next 5 years is going to be nothing compared to what we've seen over the last 16. Okay. Huge, massive growth in the digital asset ecosystem. As a matter of fact, after I get done reading this fundamental piece, I'll play another video clip from that recent panel discussion of an individual representative from Kraken mentioning the opportunity that still beholds us in the digital asset ecosystem ahead. And as you guys heard that gentleman mention, over the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to see huge amounts of institutions on board into the space that have previously said that they can't even touch crypto. So this is a huge fundamental development. Before we get into the Metallicus ecosystem developments, Archax, the UK regulated digital asset exchange broker and custodian, today announced, this is again back from the 18th, a strategic partnership with the Stellar Development Foundation that supports the Layer 1 blockchain network Stellar. Under the terms of this partnership, the SDF has made a direct investment into Archax Group to support Archax's mission to bridge TradFi and blockchain. Archax has recently completed a series of milestones in the Stellar network, including tokenizing the Aberdeen Money Market Fund and integrating Stellar into Archax's tokenization engine and platform. Now, this is what's important. This is Graham Rodford, the CEO and co-founder of Archax, and what he says here goes hand in hand with what that gentleman from Anchorage just said to you guys. The Archax vision has always been that all financial instruments will move on chain. And we find ourselves at that pivotal point right now because institutional adoption of digital assets is vastly accelerating. Here he goes on to say, 86% of institutions now have digital asset allocations or are planning to by the end of 2025. I'm going to go outright and say it's going to be billions and trillions of dollars that come flooding into this space. Okay, so pay attention and lock in because now is the time to be mindful of these things when most people are still skeptical about crypto and digital assets and think that it's a scam like it was back in 2017, 2022. Well, we're now in 2025 and these institutions are not messing about. That's huge. Having established credible partnerships and investors from the crypto world is a fundamental part of our strategy, says this gentleman here from Archax. And we are excited to welcome Stellar into that family. We look forward to bringing even more institutions and real-world assets onto the platform too. So to show you guys the potential opportunity here in terms of 100 to 1000x value, take a second here and listen to, I believe this is the CEO of Kraken, if I'm not mistaken, and he goes on to talk about the potential opportunity in DeFi and how the future could potentially unfold.
That technology, there's a set of folks that are, they think of it as a store of value, and there's a set of folks that are still building on top of it, right? So there's this new meme generation that's happening on Bitcoin, but that also means that there's new types of technologies that can be built on top of it, then bridged against it, new sources of liquidity. I just think that we're so early in the ecosystem. What's going to happen across not just Bitcoin but the rest of DeFi? It's really hard to fathom what's going to happen in 6 months to a year. It's more about like how can we continue to race to support all that development that's out there. And so when people say like, oh, I think it'll be, which is like, hey, gold is worth this much. Okay, well, like it could, we could be, 100x, 1000x more of that in terms of like what the value of all these assets are going to be. We could be, 100x, 1000x more of that in terms of like what the value of all these assets are.
So as you heard that gentleman mention, there is a 100 to 1000x opportunity ahead of us. Again, not financial advice, but just take that into consideration via some things that I'm going to show you guys moving forward. So in this post here from a few days ago, August 5th, 2025, I said, the amount of FOMO that is about to happen when people realize how powerful the Metallicus ecosystem is. Metal went bananas this year, Loan is going bananas now, and XPR is a ticking time bomb. The best part is while you're holding each of these assets, you can print passive income, right? With WebAuth Wallet and MetalX app. Now, with that in mind, let's transition over here to some groundbreaking Metallicus fundamentals that have just recently developed. This is from August 20th, 2025, and it goes on to read, and this is going to then take us down the stablecoin rabbit hole. Metallicus, a leader in blockchain technology for financial institutions and core developer of the Metal blockchain, today announced that it has been selected as the first platform partner for Valera's newly launched digital asset lab, led by Valera, the nation's premier payments CUSO, that's credit union service organization and integrated financial technology solutions provider. The lab is designed to help credit unions lead in stablecoins and digital assets through industry engagement, education, strategic partnerships, and pilot programs. Now, we're going to get into Valera here in just 1 second, but to finish off this article down at the bottom, it says the lab will open first to participants in Valera's Innovation Alliance, bringing together platform partners and credit unions to focus initially on stablecoin and tokenized deposit R&D. The group will launch proof of concepts and pilot programs to test stablecoin initiatives and collect feedback across audiences, with the goal of delivering tools and products that advance each institution's stablecoin journey. Exploration areas include the US stablecoin market, that's important right there, cross-border opportunities, and potential roles in shared branches for new experiences and faster settlement. Now, who is Valera? You can come over here and check for yourselves. This is their website. But in a nutshell, just to give you guys some statistics, Valera is the premier payments CUSO, which again stands for Credit Union Service Organization in the United States, and is an integrated fintech solution provider serving more than 4,000, I repeat, 4,000 financial institutions. And they chose to partner with Metallicus. Now, what I find most interesting about Valera via a recent announcement or a Q2 report directly from Metallicus themselves is it says here, Valera also offers instant payment solutions and has a close relationship with the Federal Reserve, particularly in the context of instant payments and Fedline direct interfaces. And again, keeping in mind that they just partnered with Metallicus. Well, if we come over here and we read the Q2 report from Metal Blockchain, it says right here, FedNow production environment. Much of our FedNow production environment has been built under strict security and resiliency standards. Final configuration and validations are underway to ensure readiness for integration with the instant payment network. I repeat, to ensure readiness for integration with the instant payment network. This is a huge insight to what is coming. And we know they just partnered with Valera, who is doing what? Valera offers instant payment solutions and has close relationships with the Federal Reserve, particularly in the context of instant payments and Fedline direct interfaces. This is huge and monumental information that most people in the digital asset ecosystem are choosing to ignore. For some odd reason, I don't know why people overlook the Metallicus ecosystem, but it would behoove you guys not to, and go take a look at these assets that I mentioned here in this post, where I said the amount of FOMO that is about to happen when people realize how powerful the Metallicus ecosystem is. Metal went bananas, Loan went bananas, and XPR is a ticking time bomb. Plus, on top of that, you can print passive income within each of these assets. This is monumental, right? So with that being said, let's continue down the rabbit hole. I want to take you guys over to Snipverse. Now, Snipverse is one of those platforms that I firmly believe is going to blow up once everyone on X that is a content creator realizes that not only does this platform, secure against bots and impersonations, which is a huge problem on X, but the fact that you can get paid in real time for your posts, right? So just to show you guys, I'm not trying to shill this platform. It does nothing for me if you guys use this platform or not. But if you're a content creator, I suggest you pay attention. For example, this is a post that I posted like not even an hour ago. You can see right there an hour ago, and I've already almost earned an entire cent on this post. If we continue to scroll down, this post earned me 7 cents. This post, 5 cents. This post, almost 11 cents here. And it continues to go on. And all of this is just passive income that I'm taking, staking, and just compounding passive rewards every single day. And it adds up. Even though that these are all cents, I've earned over $5 being on this platform for less than a week, which is just huge considering your earning potential over a prolonged time span. Now, again, this is my personal opinion, that once more people on X start to realize that you can get paid in real time on this platform for the content that you create, there's going to be a huge fluctuation of retail investors and content creators that come over to Snipverse, and Snipverse is built directly on the XPR network. So take that into consideration. But since we're on the topic of stablecoins, and since this partnership with Valera and Metallicus and this announcement is fixated on helping credit unions lead in stablecoins and digital assets through industry engagement, education, strategic partnerships, and pilot programs. Well, if we come over here, this is a post that I put out on Snipverse that a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to, in my personal opinion. And this outdated perspective that Tether is going away, again, in my personal opinion, is an outdated thesis. So with that being said, check this out. I said here in the Snipverse post, big news for digital banking and stablecoins. Zappo Bank, a fully regulated bank in I'm going to butcher this one, Gibraltar. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Probably not. With the UK passporting rights, just expanded services to include USDT deposits. while some keep speculating USDT is going away, the facts actually show the opposite. So let me say some things to you guys in terms of recent Tether developments that most influencers will ignore because they're so fixated on this ideology that Tether is going away. It's my personal opinion that it's not. You all may disagree, but again, teach his own. Do your research. Tether just appointed Bo Hines, former head of the White House crypto U.S. strategic advisor. He played a key role in pushing through the Genius Act, laying the federal framework for stablecoins. This gives Tether a direct line into the U.S. policy and regulation, positioning it to launch an institutional-grade compliant stablecoin in the world's largest market. The narrative that Tether is going away, in my personal opinion, is just noise. The reality is that they are adjusting, they are aligning with policy and securing top advisors and preparing to dominate in regulated markets. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go out there and use Tether. I'm just showing you all the facts. And so checking this out, it says from August 19, 2025, to just go in and read some highlights. Tether has named Bo Hines, formerly an executive director of the White House Crypto Council, a strategic advisor for digital assets and U.S. strategy, signaling a fresh push into U.S. policy market. This individual has credentials as a congressional candidate and a Yale-trained attorney, and Hines was also appointed in December 2024 to support the U.S. crypto policy formation under President Trump. As head of the Digital Asset Council, he was part of the effort that helped secure the passage of the Genius Act, crafting a federal legal framework for stablecoins, and led a summit that brought together the industry's top leaders with government officials. Down here, it goes on to say, Tether has long operated on fringes of the U.S. regulation. However, now with Hines aboard, the firm gains a direct link to the corridors of power and bolsters its ambition to establish an institutional-grade U.S. compliant stablecoin under the recent enacted Genius Act. This is a huge shift in the undertone surrounding what has previously engulfed the sentiment around Tether. The CEO of Tether has said that the U.S. plans are well underway, and Hines' experience may fuel the execution. His deep understanding of the legislative process, combined with his passion for critical blockchain adoption, makes him an invaluable asset as Tether enters the biggest market in the world, Tether's chief noted in a Tuesday statement. And this is, again, a fundamental update from just 2 days ago. Now, that's not the only thing that Tether's cooking up. If we come over here, Xapo Bank just announced this 3 hours ago on their LinkedIn profile. Stablecoin deposits are here, and you can now deposit USDT directly into Xapo Bank app, settled in seconds, powered by BVNK. In cross-border finance, speed and cost efficiency are no longer optional. They are expected. And that is why we expanded our stablecoin deposit options to include USDT, where users get settlement in seconds, network fees that are a fraction of Ethereum's costs, widespread adoption across the digital asset ecosystem. For Xapo Bank members, this means near instant USDT deposits at the Xapo Bank app that automatically converts USD earnings, 3.75% annual interest, with full daily liquidity. This is huge, right? This is groundbreaking because this is a regulated financial institution. If we come over here directly on Xapo Bank's website, it says Xapo entities are regulated by the Gibraltar Financial Service Commission, or the GFSC. Supervises and regulates both fiat currency and crypto activities, allowing us to offer our unique proposition by bridging the gap between traditional banking and cryptocurrencies. So you have here a regulated entity integrating USDT for their users. Do you think that based off of all the regulatory requirements and scrutiny that a bank undergoes, would they go out and offer USDT if they were doing anything that was a red flag to them before offering those services to their clients? I think not. And which is, again, just another firm position as to why I think that this speculation that Tether is going away is an outdated perspective. What we have to understand is that maybe things that Tether was doing in the past seemed a little shady, but things that they're doing now actually scream regulatory compliance and adherence with the law. For example, this is another fundamental post from 2025, albeit it's a couple months old, from March 7th, but this screams loudly that Tether is not going anywhere and is actually working with regulators and law enforcement. So here it says, March 7, 2025, over the past year, Tether has worked on multiple cases with law enforcement, including assisting the U.S. Department of Justice and the USSS. By the way, the USSS is the United States Secret Services. Just saying. So they've literally worked with the Department of Justice and the Secret Service in seizing $9 million in USDT tied to pig butchering scams and others $1.4 million worth of USDT tokens from a tech support scam network. More broadly, Tether has worked closely with law enforcement to block 2,090 wallets, including 960 coordinations with the US agencies. Over 3 years, Tether has voluntarily assisted with freezing illicit USDT transactions in over 900 different law enforcement requests, about 460 of which came from US agencies. To date, Tether has frozen more than $2.5 billion in USDT tied to illicit activities, reinforcing its dedication to anti-money laundering efforts. Working alongside more than 235 law enforcement agencies across 55 different jurisdictions, Tether enforces a strict wallet freezing policy to combat against money laundering. Nuclear proliferation and terrorist financing is also aligned with the OFAC specially designed nationals list targeting wallets associated with sanctioned individuals and high-risk activities. Tether's proactive measures have played a critical role in expediting the detection and recovery of illicit funds, demonstrating its unwavering commitment to public safety, financial security, and regulatory compliance. I've now shown you guys 3 fundamentals from this year, showing you guys that Tether's not going anywhere. So I know that people in the past have speculated on Tether collapsing and disappearing and all those things, but I firmly believe that now we are seeing a massive shift, not only in the undertone from financial institutions, which I showed you guys today, but also in terms of partnerships and the shift in tone surrounding stablecoins that might not have previously been regulatory compliant, but are for a fact attempting to become regulatory compliant and adherent to the law in the now. So as always, bringing you guys some of the realest information. Do not sleep on these types of developments. So with all of that in mind, if you guys enjoyed today's video breakdown, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. I know we talked about metal, we talked about Stellar today, we talked about USDT. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and invest or hold any of these digital assets. Always go out there and do your own personal research. I'm just here to show you guys some updated fundamental developments, keeping you on the loop with what's happening in the crypto ecosystem. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.